Sorry, before we go any further, there is a fly loose in the studio. It has been attacking me for the last half hour, but I don't see it right now, but it's probably, judging from experience with this damn fly, it's going to go for the microphone at some point in this video. Hey guys, this video here we're going to finish off the 3-part opener to the original series of the Transformers from way back in 1984. At the end of the last episode, sorry, before we go any further, there is a fly loose in the studio. It has been attacking me for the last half hour, but I don't see it right now, but it's probably, judging from experience with this damn fly, it's going to go for the microphone at some point in this video. So, right, at the end of the last episode, episode 2, the Decepticons were raiding the ruby mines of Burma, and the Autobots came up with the plan to plant a bomb in the mine and cave the Decepticons in to stop them from stealing energy. At the end of the episode, Bumblebee and Sparkplug were in the mine planting the bomb, got caught out by Thundercracker and Skywarp, and Optimus Prime went to see if he could save them and used his little scout robot Roller to go and check out the mine. The bomb exploded, blowing Optimus Prime off the side of the mountain and caving in the mine along with Sparkplug and Bumblebee. Opening of the episode, Optimus Prime still rolling down to the bottom of the mountain, and he survives. It takes him a few minutes to compose himself, and he has problems transforming back to robot form, but eventually he manages to do it. Roller gets out of the mine safe and sound, but Bumblebee, Sparkplug, they're still in there. The Autobots start digging in the rubble to dig them out. Eventually they get them, and everything's fine and well at this point, and the Autobots for a second think, that's it, we've beaten the Decepticons. Just then the top of the mountain gets blown off. The Decepticons are fine. Megatron blows the top off the mountain. They escape with their stock of energon cubes. Ironhide disobeys Prime's orders and flies after them. Now this is a continuity issue within the Transformers Season 1, like the majority of Generation 1. The Autobots, for the majority of the time, couldn't fly, but there are episodes where they do have the ability to fly. So the continuity was never a major issue for Transformers, because essentially this cartoon was a 25-minute toy advertisement every week. Anyway, Ironhide flies off after the Decepticons. Bluestreak goes to try and stop Ironhide, but then he decides to join him in the attack. As the Decepticons are escaping, Ironhide and Bluestreak are firing off shots at them. Skywarp requests permission to teleport back, and he disappears. He's got a similar ability as Mirage, can make himself disappear and reappear, so he disappears. Ironhide, Bluestreak fly past, he reappears. Of course he starts shooting at them and he takes out Ironhide. So the Decepticons escape. Ironhide shot down, and the Autobots catch up and rescue him. He's had a water lantern in a river. He gets dragged out, and there's a whole apology thing with Optimus Prime, that, you know, shouldn't have done it and blah blah blah. But Prime is the sort of leader that won't necessarily dish out punishment unless he really needs to. All Prime says is, you need to remember there's a thin line between being a hero and being a memory. That's what I love about the character of Optimus Prime. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again, Hasbro had absolutely no idea what they had in their hands whenever they released Season 1 and Season 2 of the Transformers. They actually really didn't. And as you watch these videos and you continue on in this series, you'll see why. They get everybody back to base, and this stage, of course, Ravage was captured in Episode 2. He's still there. Hound and Mirage are having a chat about, you know, we can't believe the Decepticons haven't tried to rescue Ravage. And Mirage, he's kind of like, you know, I'm not surprised at all, because they don't even care about their own, you know. And as they're chatting, Hound, having the ability to create holograms, he creates a hologram of Megatron and says to Ravage, here's your old friend Megatron to keep you company. And like, Mirage comments that holograms are so real. Whenever they get back to Cybertron, would you make me a massive house with a 4-car garage and all this here, carry on. And Hound gets the idea and goes to Optimus Prime. If we build a huge hologram to trick the Decepticons into coming to us on our terms, we can fight them, you know, set it up in our favour. So they come up with the idea. There's still the strike the Decepticons need is rocket fuel. There's a rocket fuel base they're planning to hit, and the Autobots create a hologram of it next morning. Sorry, before they create the hologram of it, they accidentally let the idea leak to Ravage and then let him escape, essentially. So Ravage goes back, tells Megatron that there's this base, the full Ravage, his head full of nonsense about this rocket base, but in reality it's the hologram that they're going to make. Yes, so the next morning Autobots turn up, create the hologram, and Megatron turns up with a few Decepticons. There's a fight breaks out and hand-to-hand combat, and Optimus Prime realises that this fight's going too easy. The Decepticons are getting knocked to pieces with like single punches, and like he orders everyone to stop, and then Megatron drops the bombshell. He's like, I was on to your plan from the start, and since you have been here wasting time fighting a bunch of loose screws, the real Decepticons have been to the real rocket base, got what they needed, and they're ready to go. The Decepticons have got the real fuel. The final fight happens shortly after this, as the Decepticon ship is ready to launch. Prime leads an all-out assault against the Decepticons, and there's good hand-to-hand combat between him and Megatron. It's like it's the big leader showdown. It's like the one shall stand, one shall fall moment that we're kind of used to now. But you know, this opening episode, nobody's going to get killed. It's like the cartoon is a cartoon that's directed towards children. There's a lot of violence in it, as in fighting, but not major violence like a lot of people in my generation when we were in school. If we got into fights, you know, we seen it in Transformers, we seen a move there, we would take somebody out in the playground with it, and yeah, I digress completely. But basically the Autobots fighting an unwinnable battle here. Megatron is on the verge of winning. The countdown started, the ship's ready to take off. At the last second he calls a retreat, get into the ship, and it launches, and Prime is screaming no at the top of his lungs. You think that's it, game over, the Decepticons have won. But then Optimus Prime orders Sideswipe to give him his rocket pack. Sideswipe is like, again, this is something, the continuity issue of whether they can fly or not. He orders that sideswipe. Give me that rocket pack. He straps it on, and he takes off after the shuttle. Like, and he's gone up, ready to do whatever he can to stop this shuttle from getting out of the atmosphere. Last ditch attempt to stop the Decepticons. On board, Megatron's starting to celebrate because we've won. We've got away. We've got what we needed. We're heading back to Cybertron. The Autobots are stuck on Earth, and Starscream drops the bombshell as like Optimus Prime's right behind us. So Megatron just simply opens up an artillery hatch on the back of the shuttle and just shoots him out of the air. Prime does a nosedive back to Earth. That's it. You think they're gone? What are we going to do now? How are they going to get out of this one? So back in the Decepticon ship, of course Megatron is gloating in his victory over the Autobots, and Starscream once again pipes up that he's going to challenge Megatron to leadership of the Decepticons, and we get into a whole back and forth between them pair. In the background we see Mirage has infiltrated the Decepticon ship before takeoff, and there was a running thing through the first two episodes, and this one that Mirage was homesick, and like all he really wanted was to get back to Cybertron. So he turns up on the Decepticon ship. Starscream has Megatron cornered at this stage. He's ready to take him out with a shot, but he sees Mirage appearing over in the background. He takes a shot at him instead. Megatron takes his point, takes down Starscream, and of course there's a few shots between Megatron, Starscream, the Decepticons and Mirage, and they blow out the controls of the ship, and that takes a nosedive back to Earth, directly into the ocean. The Autobots see this happening and they're like, what the heck happened? How did they not get away? And then look up in there and there's a parachute coming, and it's Mirage coming down to a safe land on Earth, and Prime kind of jokingly laughs off him that, you know, I knew you were in a major panic to get back to Cybertron, but you could have waited for the rest of us. And Mirage is like, I'm sorry Prime, the ship was full. So we cut from that back to, as I said in one of the previous videos, in episode 2, Spike started a journal where he was chronicling what was going on with meeting the Autobots and whatnot, and you kind of get the close out to the opening story from him. Has kind of his voiceover at this stage that the Autobots have saved Earth, and all the governments for once have voted equally. Like, you know, they're going to help the Autobots and give them the energy they need to revitalise Cybertron, and he closes that out with, I think this is the first time all governments have agreed on anything. So you kind of get that there close out where, you know, good kicks evil's backside, all's fine and well. So it's your typical opener to a series. It's tells you a story, finishes it off, but it does leave an open door for it to go on. Now, forgive me, I might be wrong on this, but you know, it almost seems that these 3 episodes were created before the rest of the series, because the way it finishes off ties up the story, but it leaves an open-ended thing where they can continue on after Spike does his little journal entry, and you see the Autobots loading the ship and whatnot, and you know, basically they can go back to Cybertron now with the energy that Earth's, you know, gladly given them, and appreciation for them saving the Earth. We cut to the ocean bed. Forgive me, my train of thought kind of lighted off slightly there. Hope I didn't miss anything. But yes, we cut over to the ocean floor. We see the Decepticon space cruiser on the ocean bed, and a door opens in the top of it, and Megatron pops out, looks around him, and then takes off up towards the surface, and that's where the episode finishes. And that is the opening to Generation 1, Series 1, the opening story, three-parter. That's definitely worth checking out if you're at all interested in Transformers. Like, they've had a good couple of reboots over the years. I kind of dropped off after season 4 because that was the handover back to the Japanese. Bought over Transformers, they took it back for a long time, and they released a whole load of series that were, you know, for the longest time, if we did get hold of any of them, they were, of course, there was voiceovers, or there were what do you call it, whenever the writing's on the screen, I can't remember the name for it, subtitles. You would have got subtitled versions of it, but very, very rarely. I did eventually get the Headmaster series that is an English dub, but we're jumping way ahead of ourselves here. Transformers, multiple series since the original 4 seasons, but I kind of glided in and out of that when the series kind of came back in the mid-90s. I was just out of high school and I was starting into my working career when some of these seasons came out, and in all honesty, because I was working, I didn't have time to really see many of them, but they were never, from what I did see, they were never as good as what the original season or series was. And you know, a lot of people that are into Transformers these days, you know, chances are you have gone back to see the originals, but if you haven't, I would highly recommend it. So I'm going to keep going on this channel. I'm going to beat my way through these here over the next week or so. Guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. Please hit that subscription button and don't forget to press that bell icon to be notified of future uploads. Please get into the description box below this video and check out my social media links down there, and check out all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next video.